can Kamala Harris win the election? From Donald Trump's multiple assassination attempts, his never-ending slew of felony charges, his constant racist rants.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
This election cycle has been chaotic, but despite Kamala Harris's lengthy political record, her being Attorney General, a U.S. Senator from California turned VP, and now last-minute Democrat nominee, Donald Trump still poses a huge challenge for Harris. His cult following never truly went away, and economic times appeared better under Trump. But that's because he inherited Obama's economic upturn after 2016. And even though Donald Trump is a convicted felon, was impeached during his presidency, and incited a riot at the Capitol the day he was supposed to transfer power to Biden, none of that seems to faze his average supporter. That overlooks the laundry list of baggage that Donald Trump has. Young men from 18 to 29 are also backing Trump at a historically high rate. Trump is towering Harris amongst young men, polling at 58%, when Harris is only polling 37% of their vote. If this enormous gender gap rings true even after the election, it will be one of the most important foreshadowings of where our country is headed, especially with the rise of conservatism amongst young men and male influencers taking that lead. But when you look at 538 polling, things just aren't looking too hot for Harris. Out of the 1,000 simulations that they ran from a combination of different variation pollings, Trump won 516 times, while Harris won 481 times. At the time that this video is being recorded, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Nevada, and Michigan are all toss-ups, with polling just being way too close for comfort to be able to say if it's going to go one side or the other. Arizona and Georgia are leaning towards Trump, while Minnesota and Colorado are leaning towards Harris. This is exceptionally worrying because around the same time in 2020, polling on 538 showed Biden continuously leading Trump by almost a 10-point difference. There's a couple of reasons for this stark divide in Harris's performance. Harris is just struggling to separate herself from Biden. When asked what she would do differently from Joe Biden, she said, quote, "Not a thing comes to mind." And then later on, claiming that the different thing that she would do is have a Republican on her cabinet.
You asked me what's the difference between Joe Biden and me. Well, that will be one of the differences. I'm going to have a Republican in my cabinet.
Which actually brings me to my second point. She and her proximity to Joe Biden's cabinet have vehemently ignored the general public's demands for a ceasefire and an arms embargo. During the DNC, I joined the uncommitted delegate sit-in, demanding for a Palestinian person to just simply have the right to speak. Not only did her and her administration ignore the sit-in, she instead platformed multiple Republicans. And the third being that her campaign is just simply struggling with mail votes in key swing states. Now, this isn't a new phenomenon. Trump heavily struggles with the female voter turnout, even though white women are some of his biggest demographic, but we'll leave that for another video. In 2016, Clinton lost the male vote to Trump by 11 points, while she won the female vote by 13 points. Some analysts believe that Harris's choice for VP Tim Walz was to make her ticket more appealing to male voters. But the same difference is happening here as well, where in states like Pennsylvania, Trump is leading the male vote by 15 points. Now, with all this being said, obviously racism and misogyny plays a huge role in this election outcome as well. Since the beginning of Kamala Harris's campaign, critics claim that she slept her way to the top, or saying that she's, quote, not black enough, and a slew of other problematic claims that are aimed at Harris simply because she is a biracial black woman in a position of power. Roe v. Wade, the possibility of SCOTUS becoming a supermajority conservative group for the foreseeable future, and Project 2025 are all at voters' top worries. But as a Middle Eastern Muslim woman who has done political commentary for years, I can't help but think how different this election would have been if the Biden-Harris administration worked towards a ceasefire, rather than aiding and abetting the genocide of more than 200,000 Palestinian people. It's what more than 77% of Democrats and 61% of Republicans and independents want, even in the crucial swing states which she needs in order to win the presidency. Kamala has a choice to make. Will she stick with Biden and risk losing, or revive the momentum that she had early in her campaign announcement when she was up 5 to 10 points by separating herself from Biden? People will vote for Kamala Harris, but they won't vote for Joe Biden, which is why he was pushed out in the first place. Kamala Harris is literally her own ticket to her victory, but she refuses to separate herself from Biden. Time is running out quickly. If she wants to win, she needs to make the right choice. Completely separate herself from Biden, advocate for an arms embargo, and build a different path completely separate from Biden. Even if you do not feel comfortable voting for a specific presidential candidate, voting down the ballot for state-specific wide propositions and bills is extremely important. With that being said, please make sure you are registered to vote with the link in my bio, and let me know your thoughts below.